The Forge was the biggest game on Roblox, pulling hundreds of thousands of players and making many people think that the platform was saved from the curse of brain rot games. The game blew up in a matter of days to the #1 spot on the platform, and many people thought this game could just not be stopped. However, just a couple months later, the game is basically as good as dead. So what exactly happened that resulted in the Forge dying out this badly? In today's video, I'll be investigating and explaining everything. But real quick, feel free to like this video and subscribe, it means the world to me, but either way, let's get right into this video because this is a pretty crazy roller coaster of a story. So for those who are not the most familiar, the Forge is basically a pretty simple game loop. It is a pretty fun game where you go to a cave, you mine things, you get better things, you fight enemies, and you upgrade and get better and better armor and defenses, and you get better and grind out the game. And overall, the game is honestly a very fun experience, and it still is to this very day. Now the thing is, at the time the Forge was released, it was a pretty dark time in Roblox because the platform was filled with these brain rot games. Like in my opinion, it was basically the peak of brain rot games. It was the peak of like mass-produced, unoriginal idea type games topping the platform's charts. So when the Forge came around with an original idea and an inventive, fun, original game loop that didn't seem like it was just like every other game, it was honestly really special, and the chart showed. Eventually in early December, topping out a peak player count of 1 million players. 1 million players on a game that wasn't just a brain rot, mass-produced, boring type game. And so this game felt genuinely like revolutionary. The experience was fun, the game was fun, and it gained massive support. Big YouTubers were making videos, everyone was playing it, and it seemed to be the start of a wave that would clear Roblox of these boring brain rot games that everyone else had just made 100 of to more original fun ideas like this. And the game stayed pretty popular for about a week or two before the player count started to dwindle. Here's the thing. As the game blew up, people started to realize and notice some major flaws that were going on. And one of the first things is the bots and the hackers that were starting to plague the game. In fact, the issue was so bad when this game was blowing up that I actually even made a video on it that got about 80,000 views talking about this issue and showing what happened. But the thing is, this wasn't the only issue as it got worse. You see, the thing is, the game was a kind of boring game loop in a way after you play it for a little while. There was a lot of progression at the start. You play through, you complete the quest, you level up, and you probably get like a good 5 or 6 hours of gameplay that just feels like you're leveling up consistently. But then the game feels like it slows down, and that's what started to happen. People started to get bored, and the issue is there were no really major updates coming out that added anything to the game. Basically, there was a World 1 and a World 2, and basically everyone reached World 2 and started to get bored because World 3 wasn't coming out for an extremely long time. And obviously, of course, this isn't 100% the developer's fault, but when updates are slow like this, especially in a game that's quickly blowing up, it's hard for games to sustain the player counts. If they aren't doing major updates every single week, people get a little bit bored. And even today, the update issue is still plaguing the game, which I'll elaborate on a little bit later, but even just a week ago, someone posted, "Been waiting for a long time for the Island 4 update, and there's no sign of update. They just give us some rerolls and mining boosts to ease our temper. Might as well quit the Forge before it's completely dead." And yeah, that's basically the thing. Even though the developers might have been working extremely hard, it just wasn't enough, because as this game blew up, the updates were not following. The updates were just boring things, and people started to get really annoyed with the developers for not coming out with new things to make the game less boring. And honestly, even at this point, I'd been playing the game a lot, I got bored of it and I just stopped playing because there wasn't anything new to conquer. And there's also a much more core issue to the game that also was a major problem, and that is the problem with the RNG. Now RNG is basically just another word for randomness, and in the game you basically get a bunch of rare ores, you grind them out for a couple hours, and then you forge things which you have a chance of getting. This is some gameplay of it on screen right now, but as you do this and as you forge, you have a percentage chance of getting something really good and really rare and exactly what you want, or you have a percentage chance of getting something bad. And I remember vividly having an experience of me sitting here and grinding something out for probably 3 hours straight. I mean, there was a little bit of AFKing and stuff. It was really hard work because I was trying to get a really good sword, I believe. And then I went over and I was like, okay, it's time, and I did the forge. I did everything correctly, but I guess I just had bad luck and I got the exact opposite thing of what I wanted, which meant I had to re-grind for everything because you don't get the ores back. So basically it was a very possible chance that all the grinding you spend hours and hours doing amount up to nothing. So things like this, the botting, the hacking, the gameplay loop being boring, and the lack of updates had started to make the cracks show in the game. But the thing is, it got worse because people got more angry at the developers due to a major issue that happened regarding these hackers that were filling the game. These bots and these hackers were a massive problem. You guys can see the footage right here on my screen from my previous video I made in December about this when the game was blowing up, but the way that developers tried to solve this issue was by making private servers, which would be a great update in most games, as most games have private servers and people were very excited. But as quick as the excitement came in, it was gone because because people realized that they were 100 Robux. It costs 100 Robux per month to have a private server, and private servers stop a lot of the issues that were happening in these public servers, especially with these hackers. So people were really mad at the developers and thought they were absolutely greedy for making it cost this much money. They did not have to make it cost this much. They could have made them absolutely free, or they could have made them cost like 10 Robux, but they chose 100. And people really honestly were getting mad at the developers and just not liking the game, which is really sad because this was a good game. Like, people were posting things like this: "Guys, I'm not a hater, but I wish for the Forged Roblox downfall." In this post, this individual says, "I am not a hater, but I wish the Forge on Roblox would fail. The reason is the developers refuse to properly fix or balance the game. Quests are unnecessarily hard, pickaxes are overpriced, and runes are too expensive for what they give. Ores are extremely hard to mine, and legendary drops are still very rare, even when using luck totems and potions. What makes it worse is how the developers treat the players. When people give feedback or criticism, they are often shut down instead of being listened to. If the developers keep ignoring the community and dismissing valid concerns, the game will eventually lose its players." And honestly, this was correct. The Forge was missing a major thing, which was the ease and accessibility and fun, and it turned into a grindy experience that people just got bored of and annoyed at. Anytime something new would come out or someone would want to level up, they would have to spend hours and hours and hours grinding. It wasn't just some simple stuff either. You would not only have to hope you're lucky, but you would also probably have to leave your computer on AFKing overnight and doing a ton of other things to hopefully have a percentage chance of getting what you wanted. Another person said, "This is why I lost interest in the game after reaching endgame pre-Island 3, and why I haven't been able to get back into it. I'm not having fun mining the same rocks that take super long to mine for a minuscule chance to get one part of an armor piece or weapon that is also pure chance to get while forging. The entire game is just a glorified RNG game like Souls with a fresh coat of paint." And yeah, as this game blew up, the truth of the game became more visible. And it's not like the game was bad, it's not like the game was not a good game. The Forge is honestly a very good experience, but it just was not exactly what people on Roblox wanted to play and wanted to see. And the developers refusing to make the game easier or balance it in any way, instead ignoring the players or barely doing tiny fixes, just resulted in the game losing thousands of players. If you were to look at the chart of the game today, you guys can see where it peaked and just has dwindled and dwindled and dwindled. It's reaching the lowest levels the game has ever seen since basically it got released. The highest players it's gotten over the past 7 days was 78,000, and that's just a couple months after it reached 1 million players and was averaging over 400,000. So honestly, this is just another example of a game that has fallen to not being able to keep the players entertained for as long as possible. So honestly, this is just another game with a lot of potential that has fallen off because of just how the developers have treated the game. It isn't fully developers' fault, but overall the game just got ruined by the way that the issues were responded to and how people that were grinding the game that were actual true fans were treated. I honestly wish for the best for the Forge. I hope it maybe can have a revival and developers do some stuff to really fix it up and make it better, make it a great experience, but I'm guessing it's going to take a lot of work, and I don't know if it ever will get revived because a lot of people are honestly so bored of it. I got bored of it at endgame on Island 2. You just grind and grind for hours to not even get what you wanted to get. It just didn't feel rewarding to me, and I just honestly have no interest in playing it ever again. And now we're basically back to where we were when the game first released, and the people were so excited that it came out, because now we just have a brain rot game taking over the platform yet again, escape tsunami for brain rots, and most of the games that are popular right now are nothing really revolutionary. They're either stuff that's already been popular or stuff that is just a brain rot mass-produced game. But the thing is, I honestly hope that people do more things like what the Forge did. The Forge came in a very challenging time on Roblox with a pretty revolutionary game to an extent, and were able to capture the attention of the people, and even though they weren't able to keep the game popular for long, it did show that there is demand for games like that truly have work put into them that are not just the basic brain rot mobile game. So I guess we'll see. Hopefully someone releases another original fun game like this, or maybe the Forge will get fixed completely and revive again to the top games on Roblox. I'm interested to see what you guys have to think, so tell me in the comments down below how you guys feel about this. I'm guessing a lot of you guys probably played the game, and I'm gonna be real, I kind of predicted that the game would die in my video by pointing out the issues that happened, so feel free to go watch that video if you would like. But either way, that's gonna be it. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and take care.